I see others doing reaction videos on other content creators, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. I'm still new to this YouTube thing. I do watch videos of other content creators and skim through comments, see what the people, or possibly AI chatbots, are saying. One comment was saying the Switch 2 would fail because Nintendo is very bad at following up a successful console. This is a pretty empty-headed take. A classic example of correlation doesn't equal causation. It is true Nintendo's had a bad track record when it comes to following up a successful console generation, but there are legitimate reasons to this far beyond Nintendo's inability to keep the ball rolling. The Switch 2 will be another huge success for Nintendo because none of the problems Nintendo ran into with their past consoles are present going into this new console. Nintendo going into the Switch 2 is in a much better position than they were in any of their past successful console generations. They're not coming off an industry crash like with the SNES, along with stiff competition. They don't have an issue with third parties not wanting to work with them, and consumers aren't confused about what the product is going to be. The Switch 2 is set up to absolutely take over the industry and have Nintendo rule gaming well into the next decade. This console generation is Nintendo's to lose. Other platforms don't have the IP muscle to compete with Nintendo's offerings. They'll make plenty of money through microtransactions, but this will do nothing to assail Nintendo's ability to move copies of games in units of hardware. But why has Nintendo had trouble in the past following up successful consoles? Knowing a bit of gaming history will make the intellectually lazy and surface level take of Nintendo doesn't know how to follow up a successful console seem silly. The SNES was poised to sell way more than it did until Sega made Sonic the Hedgehog, a game which single-handedly shifted the balance of power between Sega and Nintendo. After its roaring success, you started seeing multi-platform games sell better on the Genesis. As I said before and will continue to say because it's the truth, you buy the hardware for the software, not the other way around. Sega came up with a mascot capable of going toe-to-toe with Mario and had the Genesis gobbling up market share from Nintendo. Sega still remains the only company which provided Nintendo with legitimate competition by matching them game for game without Nintendo stumbling out of the gate or crapping down their leg like they did with the 64 and GameCube. I suppose we'll just skip to the Wii U, because the N64 and the GameCube weren't follow-ups to a wildly successful console. I wouldn't call the SNES a failure by any means. It just didn't quite reach the heights of the NES. It was seen as a step down, where their market share started to dwindle. The Wii U failed to connect with the audience who bought the Wii. Hardcore gamers will tell you they fully understood what the Wii U was, and it was trash, so they didn't buy it. These people said the same thing about the Wii. Hardcore fans are niche. You don't grow as a brand by catering to hardcore fans. You have to penetrate the casual audience, and the Wii U simply didn't grab these people. I explained in my very first YouTube video on why the Wii U failed. The Wii was many people's first game console. The majority of people who bought the Wii were not gamers. They thought the Wii U was a very expensive peripheral for the Wii. It's unfortunate because the Wii U was a quality gaming system where many of its titles are enjoying great success as Switch ports. Nintendo simply did a poor job of communicating the value of their product to a consumer base of non-gamers. There's also the 3DS coming off the handheld juggernaut, which was the DS. Its fate has similarities to the Wii U. In both cases, the consumer didn't see the value of this console over what they already had. They thought they were buying the same thing again with a 3D parlor trick. If not for a steep price cut only a few months into launch, the 3DS would meet the same fate as the Vita. In past situations, there were outside factors that made things difficult, as well as mistakes being made. These aren't present this time around. The runway is clear. The Wii fell off a cliff in the latter half of its life after people got tired of playing Wii Sports, while the Switch is slowly and gracefully descending, like an aircraft coming in for a landing, with Mario Party Jamboree and Echoes of Wisdom doing well in sales. all things are a go for Nintendo to relive their 1980s dominance. With the Switch design being showcased very recently, you're getting the same fare from the hardcore gamers. It's underpowered, it's outdated, and many other things dealing with graphical capabilities of the system. Anyone who thought this was going to be on par with modern consoles were freebasing their own farts. Despite this, when we look at history, we realize normal people don't care. The NES, Game Boy, Wii, DS, and the Switch were all significantly less capable than their competitors. With the exception of the Wii, where it was a closer race, they curb-stomped the competition. The hardcore gamers didn't buy the Switch, or the Wii, or the DS, or the Game Boy. Again, you grow when you're able to attract a new audience of consumers, not when you cater to the diehards. The diehards bought the Wii U. It's basically the same as the first Switch with new features. Essentially what every PlayStation and Xbox has been since the PS1 and the original Xbox. No need to reinvent the wheel when all people were looking for from the first Switch was a bit more power. If they can give the people a portable PS4, mission accomplished. This reveal trailer didn't actually reveal anything. All it did was confirm the design leaks. We know absolutely nothing about what this system can do or what it's capable of. Prepare for 2.5 months of XXX hardcore speculation porn from the internet. I'll probably end up getting 2 of these, one at launch and one down the line when they announce one with double the battery life and a better screen. Essentially what I did for the Switch. Don't judge me. You probably bought a PS5 Pro. I've read comments saying the rise of PC gaming will get in the way of the Switch 2's success. A wise man once said, "He with the best game shall win." There's never been a modern Grand Theft Auto game on the Nintendo system, and there won't be for the Switch 2. And it won't matter. Mario Kart is Nintendo's Grand Theft Auto, and has fared quite well, being over 60 million in sales on a single platform. This isn't mentioning all the other blockbuster titles Nintendo has in its arsenal. PC will certainly do better, with Sony and Microsoft being mercy ruled out of hardware looking for a PC lifesaver. It'll be Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, and Elden Ring up against Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon. Casual gamers aren't going to shell out thousands for a gaming rig when they can get the most popular games in the industry on Nintendo for a fraction of the cost. You sell tens of millions of software and hundreds of millions of hardware when you can grab the casuals. Apple outsells every other phone maker by a country mile, with specs everyone says is outdated. iPhones are simple to use and they work. That's it. I don't own one myself because I prefer OnePlus, but I get why those devices are popular. Same thing for Nintendo. Everything is outdated and antiquated, and it still moves like crack in '88. If graphics were the determining factor in who won, Nintendo would have been out of the game a long time ago. Games determine the winner, and neither Sony, Microsoft, or Valve are competing with that. Nintendo is going into their new console generation, having the best-selling game in numerous categories. Mario Odyssey is the best-selling platformer. Zelda Breath of the Wild is near the top as best-selling action-adventure game, only beaten by Terraria, which came out nearly 15 years ago for $10. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the king of all racers, that is a staple in many current top 10 gaming charts. Super Smash Bros. Is the king of all fighting games. Pokemon Scarlet Violet is the best-selling RPG. And Animal Crossing New Horizons is at the top of all farm sims, even doubling the sales of the hugely popular Stardew Valley, a game which came out in 2016 for $15. Nintendo has all the momentum, and the Switch 2 is set to solidify the video game industry as being Nintendo's house, where everyone else pays rent.